Namaste, I'm Hema. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about depression, okay? And before I begin, I have a small disclaimer, and it is that today what I'm talking about, the depression that I'm touching upon, is not the clinical or chronic depression, okay? So what I'm going to be speaking today about is situational or circumstantial depression that we all go through, okay? And I have a request along with that. The message is very important, as all my videos, they are all created to create awareness, to help people understand different emotions and understand that there is help available, okay? So make sure, that's a request, make sure that you share it with all your contacts. It's not for me, don't do it for me, it is for the message that I am bringing, okay? So thank you in advance for all your support. Yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about what we call as situational or circumstantial depression. Yeah, and what comes under that, and when is it situational depression, we need to understand that. We all go through this. This is the first point that I want to make, okay? We all go through situational depression. We may not know it, because what we call it is, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling low, I'm feeling, I don't feel like there's any fun left in life. I don't feel like getting up in the mornings. I just don't feel like doing anything today. Now, these are emotions that we are all aware of at different, situations, circumstances, and, in phases of our lives. But when it becomes a situational depression is when it stops or it starts interfering with your life in general. So it could be in your daily life, it could be in your routine. You're unable to have a routine, or you're unable to just get out of the bed. You feel hopeless, you feel useless, you feel life has no value, you have no value. You feel that you want to end this life, or you are even starting to talk about, now I don't want to live any longer. You may have suicidal thoughts. That is when these emotions have crossed over and are now under situational or circumstantial depression. And I am stressing this point here that we all go through this, okay? Now we need to be aware when it is just staying at that level and when it is taking over as a situational depression where you have lost the zest for life, okay? Loneliness, sadness, feeling disrespected, feeling unheard, feeling unloved. These are emotions that we all go through at different stages. We are going to look at some common factors which affect, bring about this situational depression in all of us. But it is not limited to only those which I am taking, okay? Because I am trying to keep it broad. So that is what I wanted to share. Now it is, as I said, very important to understand if you're feeling sad and how long that continues. Whatever that low feeling that you are having, how long that continues is very important, because yes, you may feel like crying today when you're feeling low or feeling sad, but are these happening quite regularly? Is there a bout of crying? Is there a bout of frustration, anger coming out, and feeling hopeless, and feeling like I just want to end my life, I just don't want to do anything with people? You start isolating yourself from people, you give up on social gatherings, you give up on social contacts. That is an alarming situation, okay? Because that is telling that it has moved on from that, just that low feeling, into something that needs therapy now, okay? It not necessary that you need medications, but you definitely need therapy in the form of a psychologist or a counselor, okay? But it is an important understanding that we have to come to. There are many reasons why we have situational depression. It is called situational depression because there may be some situation, there may be a circumstance that you go through, which brings about these feelings of sadness, feeling hopeless, feeling helpless, feeling unloved, feeling not included, ignored, okay, and feeling a deep sense of loss. And for the first one, which normally all of us goes through, is when we face the loss of a loved one, a close loved one. Okay, so if it is somebody in your family whom you are very close to, your parents, maybe your siblings, maybe your children, or even somebody, a friend, or somebody whom you considered your loved one. Now if you lose that, that is a situation when you, of course, you go through emotions like, sadness, a feeling of loss, now not knowing what to do, concerned about your future, an emotional pain, a loneliness. So all those are very normal. But that is the reason we have a mourning period, okay, and not just those 13-14 days that we Hindus have, but we also keep it for a year, okay. So it is like that period is a catharsis that we go through, where as we share our feelings, emotions with people who come to visit you, you discuss it, you cry it out. So that's the catharsis that is necessary. But if it continues beyond the mourning period, or beyond even say a year or 2 years, then it has shifted into situational depression, and that is when you need to seek help, okay, professional help. The other reason is when we finance related, work related, and we saw over the past 18-20 months that people have lost their jobs, people have lost their livelihoods. So it's a loss of an income, a loss of a job. It could even be, finances being low in the family. Maybe it is also that you have a lot of EMIs to pay and your earnings are not, reaching out. So there is a scarcity of money. It could be even that you were overlooked for a promotion or even a pay raise, or you may have got a salary cut. Your business may not be doing so well, and you may not have a lot of deals or contracts that are coming your way. So anything related to finances, job, career, it basically works out to your financial stability and security. But it also reflects into emotional fulfillment. And this is the time when you go through these low feelings of not knowing what to do, and feeling low, feeling lonely, feeling that there is no hope, basically being very without hope. And if it stays at that level, but you are able to put in efforts on a daily basis, or at least on regularly into your work, then it is still okay. But if you are just not able to handle that situation, and you feel like giving it up, that is when it has moved into situational or circumstantial depression, which needs again therapy. Okay. The third is physical and health and different phases of our lives which bring about these kind of feelings. For example, puberty. Okay, when you are going through a puberty, your child is going through a puberty, it's a very confusing time, and it is a time full of hormonal changes occurring. Okay, now this is a time when there could be depression, and you may not even know that, as the child is not being probably sometimes able to express it very well. But there could be bouts of crying, there could be bouts of something sounding like a being difficult, but it's actually a cry for help. And if it stays on for that puberty, now this is not like 6 months or 1 year, it's like for those roughly about 5 to 6 years, or even more for some. If it stays in that time, it is normal, okay, because this is due to hormones that are happening. But if it continues even beyond 20, okay, late teens and even beyond 20, then it has moved into situational depression. Okay. The other physical aspect is for women especially, again at puberty, but also especially during perimenopause, okay, the period just before your menopause comes in. So this period could be like 4 years, 5 years also for some it could be 1 or 2 years, okay. So depending on each one's hereditary as well as your constitution. So during that time, and even the menopause, now this is a time when the hormones are going crazy, and this brings about a lot of mood swings. It brings about a feeling of not being good looking enough, having lost youth, and just a low self esteem basically, and losing your confidence in yourself, and losing basing it on other external factors also. Because the hormones are playing, and it does bring in a lot of uncomfortable emotions, and it brings about this low self esteem. Okay, this results, again as I said, if it is beyond this perimenopausal and menopausal time, then it is time that you seek some help. Okay. The other physical thing is for women, again it is the prenatal and the postnatal. So if there is a woman who is going through pregnancy, now again hormones at play, which is creating havoc for the emotions, and you're feeling low, you're feeling depressed, and this is when a lot of women need counseling, need therapy, and some of them even need medications, okay, because they're just not able to cope up with that pregnancy at that time, and it will affect the fetus, it will affect the baby. And it is also if it stays, as I said, if it stays beyond this prenatal and say postnatal, even 6 months, if it stays, it's okay, but beyond that, if it stays, it is time to get some medical advice, it's time to get some therapy. The other physical and phase related is with especially elderlies. Okay, now they are already battling with the changes that are coming over with old age in their physical self. Okay, and it's also affecting their psyche, it is affecting their emotional health, their mental health. But if they lose a spouse during that time, okay, it is extremely difficult for them to handle that, because not only are they coping and trying to cope with their physical body, becoming old and aged, but they're also trying to handle their aloneness now, okay, and that brings in a lot of loneliness. Okay, and this is another reason. And there's also this feeling of emptiness, because this is the time when the children have set about to start their own lives, so they may be staying with you and yet not have time enough for them, and they may not be staying with them. So this is a time when this feelings of being lonely, not being needed, nobody understanding me, nobody having time for me, nobody values me, because the society looks at the elderly and the senior citizens as they're not needed anymore. So it does affect the person, and if it stays for a long time, then it is time for them to seek therapy. Okay, the third is a very important, and of course in the physical there are some autoimmune diseases like say hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism, which is playing again with your metabolism and your hormones, and whenever there is an imbalance, you tend to go into depression. Okay, you tend to go into these feelings, and if they continue for a long time, again they are in the situational depression area where you need therapy. The other is, as I said, there are some lifestyle diseases or any ailments for that matter. So even if you have diabetes, or you are suddenly, or be coping with, say, heart disease, or some kind of even more serious disease like, say, cancer. You feel that life has been unfair, that it's too soon, I don't want to go as yet. All that results in you feeling low, you feeling not wanted, you feeling I need to just scream it out, and needing help. But if it continues again for a longer period, which affects your daily life, that is definitely cause for concern. And one of the modern day reasons why people go through even serious case of depression is when there is a divorce, or you lose a spouse especially. Okay, so that is something which changes not just your status, okay, from, say, being a wife to a widow, or a husband to a widower, or being married to being single suddenly. And it could also be the other way around. So if you're single and you get married, and if it is against your wish that you're getting married for whatever reasons, okay, that can also cause a lot of depression. Okay, and people it's a very funny thing. Marriage is a very funny thing, because it's the person who's closest to you. There are certain things you cannot share with even that person, because sometimes that person is also the reason why you're feeling low. Okay, and this is the time when, if it continues, it starts hampering your zest for life. You don't feel wanted, you don't feel needed, you don't feel respected and loved. Basically, that is what we all crave, in no matter what relation it is. Even friendships, we just crave to be understood, to be loved. So basically, I've tried to put it in broad categories where it is normal to go through these emotions, and when it is not normal and you need to seek help. So as I said in the beginning of the video, this is about creating awareness, for us to be aware, as well as to be on the lookout and be observant about our loved ones if they are going through this, because not all of us have the courage or even feel like talking about it. They may, I have some neighbors who will generally sort of hint at being lonely, okay, because they don't want to come right out and say, I'm feeling lonely. So this is what we need to be very aware of. Make people feel included, make people feel wanted, even those who are around you, your own closed ones, make sure you give them a call once in a while and keep it as a regular routine. Make them talk to them, ask them not just about their physical health, but also about how they are truly feeling, because we always say, hi, how are you, but are we really caring about the answer, or are we even trying to see what is not being said? Just to be aware. Okay, I hope you share this video with a lot of people, so that the awareness, more and more people get aware of this. And as there are a lot of counselors, there are a lot of psychologists available, please seek help if you don't feel comfortable sharing this with people whom you know. Yeah, because these may be very personal things. Counselors and psychologists, we are very, very objective, we are impartial. So please seek whomever you feel like, okay, and get it off your chest. And life is meant to be living, and life is beautiful. Okay, so help each other live that life beautifully. I'll see you soon. Namaste.